Greetings, everybody. Patrick here, Eight Questions With, and glad you are here with us. It is a beautiful Michigan day. Sun is out, little hazy clouds, but yesterday we did have storms rolling through, and sadly, a tornado hit in a town that me and Lorianne used to live in, Livonia, and they got hit with the same size of tornado that we got hit with last summer. They got hit with the EF 0 tornado, and a lot of people say, "Well, that's just a small ass tornado." Well, it was enough to uproot a huge, humongous tree that ended up falling into a house and had a fatality. I tell you, the weather during the summers here, it used to be just take it for granted. It was gonna be very hot. It's gonna be very dry. With no rain. Once in a blue moon, you might get rain. But the weather being what it is, and how the climate changes have been affecting us, it isn't like that anymore. We're not supposed to get our first day in the 90s until toward the end of June, and generally by this time we're starting to bake already. But the weather has been really mild and it's been very wet. We've gotten some rain here. So that was a that was tragic to hear that. They couldn't detect a tornado. They weren't looking for it. It was so tiny. It was so embedded. There was no warning, and it only lasted on the ground for 9 minutes, which is approximately about the same time our tornado did last year. It was only on the ground for a brief momentarily, but it still was able to do a lot of damage. Um, all right. Hey, Jim. Jim is here, and Betty J is here. Glad you guys are here. So Jim will be doing editing while he's listening tonight. All right, all right, all right. I was listening to Jim and Echo yesterday on the Echo side, and Jim was feeling no pain yesterday. Always entertaining. Um, and so I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. So tonight's guest is actress Sherry Severs. I'm going to double check on that last name because me and last names just do not mix. Do not mix. I'm always messing them up. And there's Anthony. He is in now in 1997. By the way, 1997. So congratulations to Anthony for that. Um, and so Sherry will be here with us. She is another actress who's just starting out on the road. Um, someone asked me, says, do you get a lot of, do you get a lot of big names on your show? How do you get all the big names on your show? And I tell them I generally don't get big names. We've had some big names. We definitely had some A-listers on here. With Corin Nemec, Crystal Lowe, and Karen Cleach. I mean, we've had some heavy hitters on the show, but generally, as a rule of thumb, we're going for the ones that are just launching out. And I really like that. It's always been that way for me in my career. Be it music or doing this show, I like to catch them right when they go. Mike Markoff is another one that was on the show here, but everybody knew that he was going to break. There was no secret about that. Um, he is on the new movie called Hitman that is out now on Netflix, and Hitman is doing very very well. It is one of the best films of the year in a lot of people's books. Of course, that movie stars Mike Markoff, and he's featured in that film along with leading man Glenn Powell. And so very very cool to see that. But Mike's been around for a while now. We've been watching him. He's gonna be, he's done some really fine westerns. He's done some horror movies. He's done Death Squad. This is where I first met him at. Um, and and he did really really well in that. Josh Hahn and Mike Ferguson and Josh have both been on the show. You just see the connections, you see the dots connecting, and it's really really fun to see. So I'm really hoping for tonight, like we did last night. Last night, if you were here for our interview with filmmaker Samuel um, Schumacher. Um, wow, I have to say I was really amazed by it yesterday. I didn't know what to expect, but I was so impressed with Samuel last night. I mean, he's working really hard. Um, he's generally the he could be the poster child for second chances. He's overcome a hard life. He's got a stable life, and he's doing what he loves, and he's making a movie. He's going to be coming out in September. He's busting his ass for it, and you just can't help but just really, really root hard for the guy. Um, he's gonna. I think he's gonna be fine. I can't wait to see his movie. I can't wait. I can't. I think it's gonna be very interesting to see what Jason does. Jason Voorhees does in Indianapolis. Now he couldn't use the last name of Voorhees, but obviously without Jason mask on, we all know who he is, right? I don't think you need to put his last name on there to know who he is. Um, so uh, so I'm very excited to see what the future brings with him and with Sherry. Sherry is here, and she is an actress and producer, and we're gonna find out how she got her start and where she's gonna go with it, and what does she thinks about producing. Producing is a different animal for different people. Some people absolutely love it. I think I know some people who started out as acting. Now they've basically have said, you know what, I like being behind the camera more, and they're sliding behind, and they're starting to work more and more behind the camera and doing more and more producing. And I think that's cool. I think that's really cool. Um, Let me bring you up to the date on the calendar because the calendar is almost done. I only had two more slots to fill. So, but I will tell you what's coming on here on the calendar. Um, today is not the end of the week. Um, Tomorrow night we'll be back tomorrow night for a Friday episode of Eight Questions with, but we will be starting tomorrow night at 9 p.m. instead of 8. 9 p.m. instead of 8. And we'll be talking with actress Jenna Dulot will be here with us, and we saw her work in a movie called Sweet Killing Machines that was written and directed by Austin Calante. And so it'll be her turn to come up here and talk to us about her career. And she's really cool. She's a good actress, and she seems like a lot of fun, and she's beautiful to boot. Who said that the other day? Someone said that. I think it was Francesco from Germany mentioned that. It's one of the reasons why I come to your shows because you always have all these beautiful women on the show. I do. What can I say? We got to we have it going on. We definitely got a lot of really nice people. Um, that they're attractive is just a bonus. They're very nice people. Uh, yes, and Francesco is here tonight because I have another beautiful girl here on the show. But she is also a very talented actress, for sure, Francesco. So if you need an American actress and you have a part for her, I'm sure that we could connect you and Sherry together and make that magic happen. It wouldn't be the first time that we have connected an actor to a director here on the show. We have done that before. Uh, so Jenna will be here tomorrow. Um, on next Tuesday, on the 11th of June, we have a double header. We have a double header. We're going back across the pond to Great Britain. We'll be talking to Victoria Chambers and Derek Barr. Victoria is an actress. Derek Barr is an actor and an acting coach, and he has done a lot of great work over in Great Britain. His star is definitely on the rise. And Victoria Chambers she is just starting out her career as well. We got another one who's just starting out, and we'll be talking to her about her career. And that will be at 2 p.m. Eastern time. We'll start at our usual time at 2 p.m. On Tuesday, and then on our regular slot at 8 o'clock, we'll be welcoming in Dar Dixon will be here. Um, Actor Dar Dixon, who was in Dying to Sleep and has done a lot of fine films and TV series, will be here. And I'm going to be honest with you, we're going to let him cut loose. We're probably going to be talking some topics we generally don't hear on the show too much, but we're going to be talking about that then because I also look at Dar as an activist. If you look at his Facebook, I mean, if you look at his Instagram page, you'll know instantly why I'm saying that, and one of the reasons why I'm having him on the show too. But he's an incredible actor. He stole the scenes in whatever scenes he was in Dying to Sleep. I loved his character in that movie. I reviewed that movie on the channel, and we also did a interview with the cast and crew of that movie, which you can find links. Um, you can find that linked in Dar Dixon's banner. Speaking of that, if you guys all want to do a favor when you come into the show, um, hit the notification bell on all the shows that we have coming. We have all the upcoming streams are coming up. Go by there and hit the notification bell. Let you know when we're going to go on, and that would really be helpful. If you could also go ahead and if you could hit the like button on all the upcoming shows, even if you can't make it, but if you hit like, that will help out the show a lot. Um, so stop by there, you hit it, and it'll be cool. It'll help the channel for sure. All right. On the 12th of June, right before they go down to California, we will have the excellent band of Camp Crush will be here with us. Jen Deal and Chris Spicer will be here, and they are heading south. They are based in Portland, Oregon, and they will be doing some songs here with us. And they're also heading down to an old stomping ground of mine. They are playing San Francisco, and they are playing at a club called the DNA Lounge. And I know that place very well. I've been there many, many times. I even booked a few bands into the venue. A few bands from San Jose I booked into the venue, um, and I was super happy to see it was still flying. I know that means there's two legendary clubs that survived. um, I don't know if the Paradise Lounge survived. I know that Slim's did not survive. Slim's went away. Slim's was a good venue. It was a good venue. It wasn't the best venue. I mean, it wasn't the most friendliest venue. It had got great bands, but overall the staff. I'm not speaking ill of the closed club, but I think it played part into it. Um, they weren't the nicest people there sometimes, and that includes among peers. Um, hey Seth, how are you? How are you? Thank you so much. Yeah, hit the like button not only to this show, but to all the shows that we have linked, that we have listed. We have every show that I'm talking about. They have a banner down on the front of the channel, so you can go there and see who's coming up, when they're coming up, and then if you just hit that notification button, and then click on there and hit the like button, it helps the channel a lot. Let's the algorithm know that people are interested in the content that we are bringing to you. I know we're not all flash bells and whistles like a lot of other channels. Um, Now it's dark. Now it's dark. But we don't have the bells and whistles. But we do have some. We do what we do best, and that is we talk. Uh, so I don't have a lot of bells and whistles to entertain you, but I do have awesome guests. So by hitting the like button early, it lets the algorithm know, and it puts us out there. And hopefully, we'll bring us some new faces. New faces. That'll be yeah. uh, Speaking of editing, speaking of bells and whistles, of course, our good friend Jim from Now It's Dark. He is a master of that. If you've seen his channel. Um, If you've seen his channel, Now It's Dark, his videos are top notch. You can go there and check that out. He's got wonderful videos, creative. There's a lot of familiar faces in those videos too, and it's a very entertaining channel to boot. Um, so Camp Crush will be here on June 12th. And then on June 13th, we have Steve Byer from Desert Adventures in Arizona. He is an RVer, our RV life, and he'll be here with us on Thursday the 13th, a week from today. He will be here with us. And I should have had, like I said yesterday, and I'll say all the way up to the show, is I should have had Steve on a long time ago. He's one of the nicest people I met on the tube. Super generous, very friendly, very supportive, very generous with his time. In fact, he just got done helping one of his friends who got sick, helped raise some money for him to keep him going a little bit, and he's just that kind of guy. He's always been that guy, always been that way. I met him through Greg from Fit for Expedition and Doug and Ava Potterfield. So I'm great people meeting great people. That's really what it goes down to. When you hang around really positive people, you're going to meet really positive people. Oh, there he is. Oh, Don Zombie in the house. Hell yeah. Let's give it those sloppy hand hearts. Um, and of course, everybody is free to ask Don today. You can ask him in the chat. What movie is he watching tonight, overnight? I don't know what he's going to pick up tonight. But Don is like me. He is an insomnia. Oh, hold on. The doorbell just rang. Well, you know what that means, boys and girls. The doorbell just rang. That means our guest is here. So please share us out if you can. Glad you are here. And please help me welcome in our guest, Sherry Severs. I hope that's the last name. I'm going to find that out. Here we go.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi, how are you, Sherry?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I guess the first thing we're going to ask you is how do we say your last names?
Severs.
Okay, Severs. Okay, so
You
look,
were
I
right.
got one right. I got one right on camera. Is proof positive. I did not screw up the name because that generally is part of that's generally what happens to me a lot.
Mhm.
I'll get out there and I'll just crush somebody's last name, and I'm like, I'm so embarrassed. But glad you are here. Glad you are here.
Thank you.
Um, can you see the chat? Okay,
No, I don't see the chat.
there should be a little that says comments.
Oh, comments.
If you hit
Oh,
that,
oh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I see it.
there's all the people in the chat. Glad that you're here to talk to us tonight.
Oh, wow.
I take it by that. I take it when you and I were talking, and this is something I really am happy to do. In fact, it's really exciting for me as well. I take it this is like your first or second interview that you've ever done for your acting career.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so happy. I think it's really cool. I like the yes. We're taking that press. We're gonna be the first one to talk to you. So when you go back and say, when did you know that you were gonna make it? Well, I did an interview on this little podcast, and there you go. Um, so how are you feeling? How was your day today?
Very busy. I'm getting ready to go to Edmonton to work on a production tomorrow. First thing in the morning.
Now, now you do both. You do acting and you're a producer.
Yeah.
So what roles will you be doing on this new project?
I'm an associate producer on this one, and I did have a little acting gig on the first day as a scientist. So I got
Nice,
Dr. Sherry.
nice. Did they give you a white robe and make you some glasses? Every time you see glasses, it's a scientist, right?
I had my own.
Oh, there you go. Uh, but are you based in Canada or are you based on the East Coast?
I'm based in Calgary, Alberta.
Oh, okay, okay, Calgary. Now, how far away is that from Edmonton?
3 hours by driving. It's not very far.
Okay, not very far.
No.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure, because I wasn't like, as far as I wasn't quite sure exactly where you're from. Yes, hi, Paladin. The cheetah is here. How you doing, buddy? Okay, this is the cheetah.
Aw.
As soon as he hears your voice, he comes over and says, "Pick me up, pick me up." All right, all right. There you go, Ham. So Canada then. So tomorrow's your first day of production. Um, did you ever think that's where you would be at right now in your life, as an actor and a producer?
No.
What did you think you'd be doing at this time?
I used to be a firefighter. I had
What?
no ambition to do this at all.
So how do we find ourselves? Are you still an active firefighter or no?
No.
So how did you go from being a firefighter to being a producer and an actress?
I ended up with a back injury, and that limited my ability as a firefighter. I did that for 18 years, and I did 14 years on frontline firefighting, and that was all across Canada. And then I also did 4 years on a volunteer fire department and 2 as a captain, and I was the first female on that department. And I was a
Now,
firefighter as
now
well.
I take it you being first, you're because there's a lot of forests in Canada. So were you a wildland firefighter?
Yes.
Yeah,
Frontline firefighting, yes.
that's. I know people always look at the urban firefighters, but I did a year of wildland firefighting myself, and um, that's some scary ass shit. that's that's um, when you see a house fire, it's like it's scary. I mean, a house fire is scary. It's like somebody's house and all their possessions, but you can stand outside and watch it. Whereas in like, wow, isn't that pretty? But with wildland fire, you can't do that. Because there's so
It's
many different ways to.
everywhere.
Yes,
It's
there's so many
huge.
different ways to die in a wildland fire.
Mhm.
Um, that must have been some terrifying moments.
I had some.
You ever have to? Did you ever have to wear the go underneath the shield? Do you ever have to dig out
There
there?
was one time where we were trapped, yes. Probably about 30 minutes, and I wanna turn that into a bit of a film because most people don't have that experience, being trapped in a fire, and it's pretty scary, and, I'm thankful that I'm here today, and I kept my hair.
Yeah. They made a movie a few years ago called Only the Brave,
Mhm.
and it was based on a true story about a hotshot crew in Arizona that
Mhm.
got overrun.
Yeah.
They, yeah. And also before that, when I was doing Wildland Fire, they were talking about another hotshot crew that got trapped, and they found them during like a 10-mile stretch. They
Mhm.
found each firefighter because they were trying to run, and this is the one they tell us, during training. So to let you know exactly what you're dealing with, was they said this is a hot shot crew. They were elite, great conditioning, and
Mhm.
they ran. They were trying to outrun the fire, wildland fire, and they couldn't.
No.
And I'm thinking of Canada. I'm just in my head. I'm thinking of all the fires she must have seen and just been like, you know, one you're going like, tell me if this emotion ever crossed your mind. One, holy cow, like, because forest fires. But two, you're glad you're there to try to make an effort to stop it where it is. You don't,
Mhm.
and yeah, for 18 years. Um, So how do we go from actually doing the firefighting to walking into acting? Had you ever done any acting before as a child, before you became a firefighter?
I did, actually. I was on background on Rocky 4. I spent 2 days background in Vancouver at the Agrodome, and I got to see Sylvester Stallone and Dolph Lundgren in the center ring. I was 3 rows from the ring, but when you look at the film, you only actually see 2. I
Right, right.
didn't make the cut, but I
Yeah,
was
but
there.
you made it. Yeah, but you were there. How much?
Mhm.
How fun was that?
It was really cool, and it gave me a completely different perspective of filming, because when I'm watching Sylvester Stallone stand on a box in front of Dolph Lundgren and the angle that they made the camera, and then when you actually look at the film and you go, "Wow, they made him look big."
Yeah, because so I think
Tiny
Sylvester
guy.
Stallone's like he's like 5'8", right? 5'8", 5'9". He's small. He's a small guy.
I would
Uh,
say 5'8" at the most.
yeah, and Dolph Lundgren's like 6'2" or 6'3".
I think he
He
was more like 6'5", 6'7".
6'5". Yeah,
He was
I mean
and then he had back then he had his hair up too.
right.
I think he had
Uh,
like 5 inches of hair sticking up.
and they gave Sly an Apple box in. That's so cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I was wondering how are they gonna do that? How do they make him seem like? Because when they're in the ring together, it looks like, okay, yeah, you could definitely see the size difference because they wanted to, but, but I guess really close nose to nose, I guess Sylvester Stallone is really, really small compared to yeah. But he was cut though, that's for sure. I mean, he was in great shape for those movies.
They both were.
Yeah. Uh, it's great to see them both still at it too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people never really. I don't really ever feel gave Dolph Lundgren his due, but Dolph Lundgren, as he got older, sort of like Sylvester Stallone too. But as
Mhm.
they've gotten older, they've actually gotten better,
Yes.
in my
Dolph
opinion. I
Lundgren's
think that
super smart too. He's got a
yes,
bunch
he
of
is.
degrees as well.
Yeah, he's nobody's fool.
Mhm.
Uh, so you were there at the extra. So why didn't you just sit there and say, well, I could be the next Bridget Nielsen? Um, so what led you to go? What what led you to go from that moment and watching Rocky Four? How did you get into firefighting?
Oh, that's complicated, but I was actually at the filming because I was young and I just wanted food. They were feeding the background. So I just showed up because I wanted food.
Uh, oh
And then
yeah, you know what? Yep.
so and then I end up, I've been married twice and divorced twice and, life happened and now I
Without getting too personal, was it your career that hurt the marriage?
no, no.
Ah,
The career came after.
okay. Okay. So you married twice, and after that, you said, "Screw it, I'm gonna help people. I'm gonna become a firefighter."
Well, no,
And
I
this
was
is
a firefighter before during my first marriage.
you were okay during the first marriage, but it didn't have because I know first responders. The marriage, it can really ruin marriages due to the stress, the availability, the hours you work, the risk of injury, the risk of death, all that plays into it. So it's not really surprising to see that. Sorry it did happen, um, but
Yeah,
but uh, but so
everything
were
makes
we?
you stronger.
You what?
It just because I got an injury, it made me shift my perspective, and it just made me stronger.
Yeah. Now, was the injury just over the years that you accumulated during your career, or was it a one
No, it's a
specific
traumatic
moment?
back injury, lifting somebody.
Oh, oh God. Well, I'm just,
That was
I
a
hate to
long
say
time
it.
ago, and I've healed from it as best as I will, and I just don't lift people anymore.
That's right. There's not going to be any fireman's carry on this set. I'm telling you that. Uh, I'm going to tell everybody, say, and welcome everybody in. Our friend Don says, welcome, Sherry.
Hi.
Um, see, and see, everybody's talking about, or we're talking about how bells and whistles on people's YouTube channel. Our good friend Jim is a maniac when it comes down to creating some really fun videos. Mr. Dan and Hoare is in the chat saying hello to us, and our good friend Lamonia Demonia is here. Thank you, and yes, I agree. Uh, so talk to if you don't mind talking a little bit about it, but talk us to a little bit about your career if you don't mind, because it's unusual we get a chance to talk to a captain, a former captain. I'm I grew up. My favorite show was a show called Emergency.
I
So
remember that.
You remember that? That was my favorite show growing up. So I've always, and I got to do it for a year, so I'm a little bit fascinated by that. So, well, how did you go into firefighting? Were you encouraged to? Did
There was
something
a
happen that inspired you?
there was a I was looking for some work, and during the summer, there was some massive forest fires, and they were calling for people to come out and help. And I just had a knack for I learned really I pick up things really fast, and I figured out exactly what they were requiring after about a week, and I just kept moving into the front line, and I figured out how to put out the fire on the front end, which is not easy, and it's knowing which equipment you need to pack. Because I figured out how to carry a small pump,
Hmm.
shower hoses, and certain equipment, and usually about 3 of us, and we just go and tackle it. And when
Yeah,
you have a
yeah.
small pump, you can use pond water.
Now was yours a piss pump? Was it 5 gallons?
No, that's a piss can. You have to carry that.
Yeah,
Those are heavy. No, no,
yeah,
no,
they
no.
are.
Not if I would rather carry a pump that move the water. I got
So
smart.
okay, so you're on an engine then, a
I've done
pumper,
that
a pump. Yeah, because we used to hike in, and then you know about this. You have to hike in. You have the piss pump on your back, and you're hiking in, and because there's no roads or what have you, and you're hiking in with that pump on your back, and you're sitting there thinking, yeah, yeah. I mean, this is not going to do anything any good for anybody if we get into serious business. Um,
I fell over with one of those. They're
oh,
horrible.
did you? Well, if it makes you feel any better, so did I. The first time I put mine on there and I started climbing up a hill, I fell on my ass too. We all did. We all did. Um, what was your first fire like for you? I mean, when you I promise we're gonna get to the acting
Yeah,
questions. You gotta give me a minute to get my fire guy out. Um,
good to
so what
talk
was
with
it like for you?
this.
Yeah, this is awesome. I mean, because this could be a movie coming up right here.
Yeah,
Uh, that would be, you know what? There's not enough. There's not enough. There really isn't that many
there's
fireman
not a
movies
lot of
anymore.
women firefighters.
No, no. I mean, there's not
Amazing.
enough. There's not enough on either side anymore.
Mhm.
I mean, I know they over here they have a couple of TV shows. One just got canceled, and the other one, but they always are. Whereas Emergency was always about the day in the life of, where they're always on active duty. It seems like now they always throw in all this drama into this,
Yeah,
and
there's not a
it's
lot
like,
of drama. It's
huh?
boring, hard work. You're digging in
Right.
the dirt, you're throwing mud on a fire, you're wetting it down, like, it's
Uh,
just hard work.
it really is.
Dirty. Black.
Everyone wants to see the shining engines and the truck companies roll out of firehouses in the city, but how many people people don't really appreciate that. Well, maybe Australia, uh, the backbreaking work that wildland firefighters do. I mean, talk about first responding. You don't get much better than that. Um, do you ever get out? Do you ever go on a helicopter?
All the yeah.
Uh,
Oh, yeah, they would drop us off because a lot of the fires I was on were lightning strikes, so they were never in populated areas, and they drop one guy off where he'd chainsaw a helicopter pad, and then the helicopter would drop in crew, and that's how we would go in. So we would yeah, helicopter was the main transportation outside of vehicles driving in.
And with all the forestry, I mean, can't I mean, there's probably more untapped forest in Canada that's bigger than the United States is.
Mhm.
I mean, you could take your forest and put it in the United States and fill it.
And
That's
most
how
people
much.
don't realize Northern Canada is mostly muskeg. Try and fight in muskeg. It's
Uh,
terrible.
yeah, I'm just yeah, it's amazing.
Roots.
So okay, so now you're firefighting. You're kicking ass. You become a captain. Um, what was it like? Real quick, what was it like working for a volunteer department?
It was a lot of work. It was, actually the camaraderie was just phenomenal. We did a lot of first responders, and where I was stationed, there was, a main highway and a train track, and we had we had to evacuate the community because one year the community flooded. We would always there was NVAs a lot, and that was just something that you just dealt with. And I always knew that we would give our best to try and help people with the best odds.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you saw some. I'm sure you saw some unpleasantness when you're on your career as well.
But
Um,
we always did the best we could for everybody.
yeah.
And we would just hope, you give the best odd, the best care, and you just hope that in the best, right?
Exactly. What was your favorite rescue?
Oh, that's a good question. I rescued a dog out of a river
Yeah.
in full turnout gear.
Oh my God. All right. So was this during a fire or winter time?
But
Huh?
it was called an ice jam, and actually the ice blocked the river and it flooded, and this silly dog decided to go out on this rock where there was water everywhere, and everybody was really upset because everybody wanted to go and save the dog, but we didn't want to let anybody there because there was current.
Right.
So
Right.
I got to go out. I'm like, I'll go
What,
get the dog.
okay. Now, I'm sure this was not the only dog you ever rescued. Uh, I don't know what it is with ice. Down here in Michigan, whenever we get snow or ice, there's 2 or 3 times every year, all year, there'll be some dog sitting out there that needs to be rescued because they went on the lake, and now they're trapped. You
Mm,
ever notice? You ever notice that cats never do that? Cats are like,
no,
no, we're
they
good
go up
on the
a
bank.
tree.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's better. At least you're not get up the tree. At least that's not in the river.
But
Um,
the problem with cats up in a tree is they pee on you.
yeah, when you grab them, you mean? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, but they seem to know though. I mean, they both dogs and cats. They do seem to know that once you come out there, they're not there to hurt you. Like as soon as you see a first responder grab a cat, you notice the cat just doesn't go full on. It just like it'll just like lock up because it knows that you're there. Instinctively, you'll know that it's there to help you. Of
Yeah,
course, now once your feet hit the ground, it's a different story. But as long as you have the scruff by the cat and coming down off the ladder or down the tree, rappelling down the tree, they're not going to give you static. And just like dogs never try to bite you when you're trying to rescue them.
no, no.
That's weird, isn't it? I've always been fascinated by that. It's like you think that they'd be so scared that they would snap and bite at the first thing coming at them, but they instinctively know that's not the case. That you're there to help them.
Yes.
Um, that's great. I love that story. All right, we're gonna get out of the firemen's here for a second here. Yeah, I'm thinking about you going to the craft table at Rocky Four. Um, we went to a bunch of friends of mine. We went to a museum and in San Jose, that was an Egyptian museum, and Tim
Mhm.
Conway was there shooting a TV special. Remember the character Dorf?
Mhm.
It was Tim McGraw, Tim Conway. His character Dorf, basically, he would act on his knees. It was because Dorf was a small guy. Well, he was making one of these door specials, and we were there. We happened to be there, and they let us have to go to the craft table. They said, "Oh,
Nice.
go ahead," because they were taking up the museum.
Mhm.
So like we couldn't go in there right away. And so it says, "Well, as long as you're waiting, you can go ahead and eat on us." So that's what we did. We watched them film while we ate at the craft table. Um,
Nice.
all right, so let's go with your acting.
Mhm.
So you hurt your back. You do your last 4 years. Um, so how did you decide to go that direction instead of somewhere else?
I had a life happen. And then actually last February, I got I was I was trying to figure out what to do with my life. I've, kind of floundering around. I'm a mom and, things are changing. So I was like, what do I want to be when I grow up? I've always tried to figure this out. Since the firefighting, that was I had such passion for that. I couldn't find anything else. And then last February, I guess I clicked something online and somebody reached out and said, "Would you wanna do background in a film?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" So I went, and it was a Hallmark, and I was background in that, in, Me and Mr. Christmas, and I'm a popcorn vendor, and I was in a whole bunch of different scenes, and while I was there, I was fascinated with the whole filming in just everything about it, how they were making the shots happen, um, some of the back shots where they were getting crowds of people in front of the trees, um, just everything, and everybody was just so friendly, and
Yes.
I felt at home, and after that, I took some acting classes, and I've taken a whole bunch of acting classes, and I've just every chance I get, I'm on set doing something, and I see something different every time.
What was it like going to your first acting class? I mean, when you got up there
Eye-opening.
in front, you what?
Eye-opening.
Oh, were you?
Eye-opening.
What was the adrenaline? Was the adrenaline the same as responding to a fire?
Different.
Or a
I was
little different.
nervous. Very nervous and
Yeah.
unsure and trying to it's taken time to figure out for me, it's been character development. How can I portray a character that I really like just digging into the character. It's how my mind works and realizing that I actually think quite different than a lot of other people. And I learn my lines different than a lot of other people as well.
No,
And
can you give us an example of how that works?
Uh, I go over my lines like 1,000 times. I'm not one
Yeah.
that when I read it, it's in. It takes me a bit, but I read it in different, I think of different emotions, different feelings. I'll run the same line and I'll run it loud, quiet, crazy, angry, just all different, and then as I keep running the lines, things start clicking in my head, and I start seeing different spots where I could be happy, I could be not so happy, maybe mad, or just I don't know, it's kinda hard to explain. Because my last big role was, psychological drama, and it was very, heavy, but it was amazing. I learned so much about my character, Wendy, and it's kinda neat because I could read the script and go, "That's not what she would say," and then change it to how she would say it.
Um, our friend Jen just walked in. Thank you for coming in, Jen. I'm glad you're here. Glad to see you. And she is saying hello to us, and thank you for that. I appreciate that so much. Everybody's greeting everybody in there. Lamonia is commenting that that's awesome, a real hero. Absolutely, absolutely,
Y
absolutely. Wildland firefighters, they are a different and kind of animal, that's for sure. That is very, very. That's Yeah, I have much respect for that profession.
Mhm.
Um, so here you are, you walk into class. Was it a big class, or was there a lot of people there? Did anybody come out to you and say hi? My name's Joe or Jane. How are you? Were you made to feel welcome? You said you were nervous. How long did it take for you to feel comfortable and not like have your stomach in knots?
It took a few classes, not gonna
Okay,
lie. It
okay,
really did, but when I went in, everybody's always been friendly, but for me, it was first, being in front of the camera, I got really nervous, and then I couldn't remember all of my lines, but now that part of it is when I look at the camera is realizing what I actually look like on camera versus what I think I look like, and I'm realizing that when I look at the camera, that's what everybody else sees me, not what I see myself, and
right. That's true.
Yeah, and real and just going, that's just who I am. I am who I am, and I'm not 20. I'm a lot older, and people are gonna accept me the way I am. I'm smart, I'm driven, and, just
Yeah, that's what that's you know what there's that's a common thing. A lot of actors just starting out, they are focused, they're determined. And you're right. I mean, running lines is when you're not used to it, like anything else new, you just have to you have to improve by being repetitive about it. I was
Mhm.
going to ask you. You mentioned you're a mom. I was going to ask you, does your daughter run lines with you?
No. She's
No,
almost 18. No.
no, no.
She doesn't have any interest in filming at all. She's a teenager and, kids don't like their parents.
Well, just wait till that first time when someone recognizes you for a role, and tells her, say, "I saw your mom on a movie last night." Wait for the first time that happens, and all of a sudden, you're gonna it's gonna go from indifference to like, "Oh, cool." My mom's a star. That happens a lot when you actually see somebody on TV for the first time, and you go
Mhm,
like, "Oh, I know that person. That's really neat."
mhm.
Um, uh, Jen has an acting question. Says, "I'm interested in the craft and have acted in my space since I was little. I realize that villainous, psychologically troubled scenes are what I'm drawn to, um, and reenacting. Um, should I be concerned? As far as
No.
okay, so you're drawn to playing those parts. I don't see any problem with that.
No, not at all. If that's
No,
what you feel comfortable with, I realize that that you become typecasted for certain types of like, right now, I keep getting the crazy mom. I'm in a
really.
psychological drama. I've got another one coming up where I'm playing a mentally unwell person, and, actually, they're hard because just playing something simple is easy, but the when you have somebody that is mentally unwell in any way, it's difficult because they're in their head, but now you've gotta try and portray that in action, which is you don't a lot of times see when somebody's mentally unwell. Now you've gotta
Yeah,
try and make it look like you are,
that's gonna be
but
hard.
not too much.
Yeah, you don't wanna go method.
No.
Well, I mean, some people do, but I'm saying I wouldn't wanna be I wouldn't I don't know. Method actors scare me. They just, like, they make me I had one I remember the first time one of the first, method actors I talked to on the show, and he was in high school, high
Mm.
school. He gained 40 pounds for a role
Wow.
in high school, and I'm just sitting there going like, "How come no one said anything to this kid?" But no, he gained 40 pounds for the role. And Jen says, "Okay, she is relieved. I've just been drawn to stories with darker undertones." Uh, and
So
Lamonia
am
says
I.
they're more interesting. Yeah, you know what though? If you listen to a lot of actors, a lot of interviews, you will hear them say that over and over and over that being the bad guy is more fun to play than the good guy. It's all because you have so much more out there. You can take your character so many more different places than someone who's wearing the white hat.
Mhm,
Um, so I think it's a good sign. I think it's a sign that you're more versatile. You can play anything.
mhm,
If you get typecast as only a good guy,
mhm,
like think about it. Think about someone like a George Clooney.
mhm,
George Clooney or Ben. And they're most of the time they're always playing the good guys.
mhm,
And oops, good old StreamYard. Most of the time they're just playing the good guys.
mhm,
And it's so different when you see them come out there and play a bad guy. When they do play a bad guy, like Denzel Washington in Training Day. I mean,
mhm,
that was probably everybody's first time seeing him play a role like that.
Right.
and they reacted to it. In fact, he won an Oscar for it. And so, I mean, because people just weren't used to seeing him like that, dark and edgy, and that ain't Denzel, but it was. Um, but I just couldn't see you playing a crazy mom though. I was thinking they had you playing the police detective and something or something like that. Okay, we got another question from Craig. Craig from Medicine Hat, Alberta. Hi, Patrick and Sherry. Sherry, who are your top favorite actors that inspire you, and what would your all-time favorite movies be?
Oh my
Uh,
Well, act my favorite all time is Viola Davis. But there's so many that are just I've just learned I keep learning, like, whenever there's new shows come out, I watch them, I try and learn from them, but Viola Davis is absolutely my number 1 pick for sure. Fought She's always been the underdog, never getting the credit that's due, and, I mean, even in her like, what was it, 2 years ago, she was in the Warrior one, where she completely transformed her body even.
yeah.
Like, and when she was doing, oh, I'm not very good with names, but she was doing the murder one where the series, and
Right.
oh, that was
I
so
remember. I remember when she was supposed to win the Oscar for The Help. I mean, she was
mhm,
like everybody expected to go to her. We're all sitting there waiting for it to go to her, and then at the last minute they gave it. I don't even know who they gave it to, but you're just sitting there staring at the TV, going like, that's an injustice. That's
it wasn't
absolutely an
her.
injustice.
Mhm,
She was yeah, and she the only thing I would 'cause I love Viola Davis too, but I will say this. Uh, I was sort of bummed out when they gave her the role of Amanda Waller in the DC movies because I thought the
mm,
lady who voiced her in the animated series, she's an actress named CH8 Pounder. I
mhm,
thought she's just that's Amanda Waller. And so when I heard that they were casting, I thought, well, will they give it to her? And they gave it to Viola Davis, and I admit, I was sort of bummed by that. I was like, why don't you should give it to her? Because we all know who that is. That's Amanda Waller. Uh,
right,
but then I saw her play it, and I'm like, okay, I still want CCH to get it.
mhm,
Still want her to play it, but I'm okay with Viola hanging it. She did a great job.
mhm.
Um, and what movies have you watched that are your favorite? Was there any one particular actor or movie that you watched that got you inspired more than others?
Jim Carrey.
Okay,
I
all right.
like Jim Carrey. I actually have a signed one of his young headshots that are autographed that they inspire me to think outside the box. And actually, I have a philosophy about the box. As a firefighter, I blew it up. There is no box.
Oh, right, right. Yes, yeah, yeah. There's no box.
There
Have
is
you
no box.
have you
Think outside
how
the
do you
box.
how I mean, what have you mentioned earlier about learning the lines,
Mhm.
difficulty learning lines. Has there been any obstacle besides that you've run into, and how have you adapted to that to overcome that? Like
Actually,
how did you overcome the part about learning lines? How did you improve yourself into learning to do that much better?
I just kept working it. I figured out I actually work with other actors. So the movie that I was where I was the lead in, I would get a hold of the actors and we would video and we would run the lines. I also would get a voice recording of the lines with them speaking it, and then I would take my part out, and then I would only have theirs, and I would have to keep running it. And that's one of my methods is that I'll have a voice recording where it's just their dialogue, but space for me to add mine, and that
Um,
helps. And
yeah.
everywhere I go, I have lines. They be in my pocket, I'm driving, it's like I just keep running them in my head. Just keep
Has it
going.
gotten has it gotten to a place have you ever gone to the place where you've read it and you said, "I just can't do it anymore." So how what I if you come to that barrier, how do you overcome that? Like, you've seen the words and they just start running all together. What's the best way for you to reset yourself?
I go for a walk or a run. I just get out of the situation. Or I think, I play some music or anything. Stop thinking about it, because if you're not getting it, don't even try. You
Right,
have to stop and think about something else, because you have to free your brain to relax, and once you can relax your brain, then it will absorb. And sometimes actually one of them is sleep the next day.
right. I mean, I've heard, sometimes, because I think, it really impresses me how much energy it literally takes. Like, I mean, we all know about Stanley Kubrick, the famous time where he made Shelley Duvall do that 127 times. Everybody remembers that. But I think most actors, they give you the best, they give you the best they got, like in 5 or 6 takes. And, I've heard the actor directors say, like, if I can't get what I need, in 5 or 6 takes, that day, I know I'm in trouble because they only have a certain amount of energy there with them to get to that level that I'm looking for.
Mhm.
Yes, they can keep doing it for 20 times, but I'm not going to get their best at 20 times. I'm going to get their best in the first 1 to 5 takes.
Right.
So that's why if I don't get it by 5 or 6 times, I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on to do something else, and
But the
I'll
lines
circle
come with
back.
emotion too, so you actually have to also be in that state of emotion, and if you're doing it, if you're having trouble with, say, someone else that's not getting their lines, so you're working and you've got your lines, you have to try and help them get theirs, because you don't want to lose your emotion. Like if it's an emotional part, because there's always emotional somewhere. You're at some emotional state for every single line. So you actually have to try and, if you're doing it 20 times, you got to keep that emotion every single time, and that's
Yeah,
hard. That's
yeah,
draining.
yeah. I don't know anybody can hold that level for 20 times. I just don't
It's
know
hard.
anybody. I mean, not even the best of the best. I mean, experienced. I don't know how you could do that. After a while, yeah, you just run out of gas. Let me go back to the chat here. It's flying tonight. Jen says, Sherry, if you could star in a movie with Viola, create a summary or a plot. Yeah, well, what kind of scene would you love to play? That you would like to be a scene partner with Viola, and would
Oh,
like,
wow. I want an action for sure.
yeah,
Maybe post-apocalyptic.
okay, all right. We have to team up together to get that last truck of oil. Let's something like a Mad Max type scenario, right?
Sure.
Oh, that would be a lot of fun. Uh, let's see. Hey, Charles, how are you? I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. And Jen mentions Jim Carrey is one of my first celebrity crushes without realizing it. Loved him in green spandex as the Riddler. And my favorite Jim Carrey movie is The Mask, of course. Love that movie. That movie's so much fun. Plus, I know the band that was in it. Royal Crown Review. Uh, let's see. Let's see. Lamonia says Jim Carrey is a favorite. My two favorite films of his are The Cable Guy and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Dude's got range. Yeah, yeah. Especially those two and The Truman Show. Anyone
Mr.
where he's
Popper's
where,
Penguin,
huh?
that's one of Mr. Popper's Penguin is one of my favorite.
The one I want to see, I haven't got a copy of it yet, but the one I keep looking for because I wanted to see him was called The Majestic. I think it was
Mm.
like his first dramatic role, and always wanted to see it. Uh, uh, the Bud Files is here. Glad you're here. Hi, Sue. How are you? Let's see. I scrolled right by her. Cable Guy was a weird movie. Of course, many of Jim Carrey's are weird. Yeah, The Cable Guy is one of those.
Mm.
Jen says Riddler had a device he created that drain people of their secrets, banks, info, social skills. In a sense, he created Facebook. That I can't argue with that. Uh, it gets better each time you watch. At least for me, I get it. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Which movie, Lamonia? Which movie, The Cable Guy or Eternal Sunshine? Because I've heard both those movies are fantastic. Oh yeah, I hear from the other actors in interviews that they have to get into a space to cry, be emotional, etc. Yeah, it takes a lot of energy to get to that point. Because especially if you're not feeling that, like you're here to do a job, and someone says, "Okay, cry on demand." A lot of people they can't cry on demand. They got to get themselves into that mode, and then
I
there's always I mean, there's always that danger that you tap into your emotional well, but
mhm.
if you keep doing that, you become desensitized to it.
I can cry, and actually for the last one, yes, I was being a psychological drama, and Leah's Echo, my daughter she's about 17, she's been missing for a while, and I cry a lot, and I found that I can actually cry 3 times. The first one is the big tears, then I
Okay.
start slowly drying up, and then I need some time and lots of water, and I can bring it back. But there's also different types of cry that a lot of people don't realize. There's like 100 different ways. Like you want the big crocodile tears, or you want just the little welling up, or you want the ones that are slowly falling. Like there's so many different ways of crying. And it's being able to dig into something. There's always something. And it's never the same every time. There's something that I always have to pick up. Every day it'll be something else I'll just dig in.
What was it like going through that? 'Cause I'm sure you remember this. What was it like the first time where you had to act in an emotion? He had to act crazy, or he had to act super overhyped, or you crying or whatnot. What was it like when the first time you were in acting class and they told you, okay, cry? Here's the scene. Now
I
cry.
never had that in acting classes. I had that on film, where I knew that the one day that was an emotional day, and I actually looked at the director and I said, and we actually were able to shift scenes as we needed, which was unique because it's an independent film. And I looked at him and I said, "I can cry today." And that day was a day I knew that I had a lot of emotion, and we actually made some of my best scenes are that day, which was it just happens. It's just like, but the movie is about my daughter missing, so right away I'm thinking about my daughter missing, so it's just like, that was a no-brainer, it worked.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back to the chat because we are flying here. Sherry, Carrie, and Viola starring in Mad Max. God, what would Mad Max? I mean, I guess Jim Carrey would have to replace Bruce Spence, the helicopter pilot in Mad Max. Um, let's see. Lamona says, "I just want to hang out. No big deal." With Jim Carrey. Uh, oh, The Majestic with Laurie Holden. She's another favorite of mine.
Oh,
Hell yeah, I love
yeah.
Laurie Holden. Silent Hill. Oh,
Mm.
she just stole the movie from me. Um, uh, Charles, I like Carrie in the Sonic movies. Shit.
So over the
The Lamonia, both. But I was referring to the Cable Guy. Yeah, Cable Guy. Yeah, it's definitely a weird movie. That's for sure. I went and saw that. I went and saw that at the theater. That was different. Let's see. Lamonia says, I finally went to medieval times last year for my birthday because I loved that one scene so much. So that's when they go and people are dressed like knights and they eat and watch them joust and whatnot. That's fun. Screaming seems difficult for those who screaming seems difficult too because there aren't everyday uh, things you usually do. Uh, Yeah, we laugh, we text, basic talking. What are some of the things you recommend to warm up with for scream, shouting, etc.? Because you probably had to do a few screaming scenes, playing a unstable person. So how do you protect your voice? How do you get in shape?
That's tricky. I have kind of had trouble with my voice. I actually, um, I have a couple little tools that, if I'm having to scream a lot, my voice does get a little sore, and I actually have some special numbing spray because my vocal cords tighten right up, and actually what happens is my pitch of my voice changes, and that's a problem when you're in continuity in a film and you've been in it and your voice changes. You can't have that. So I did have that, and one day I didn't know what to do, so I was actually drinking some bubbly pop, and I was kind of gargling with it to kind of relax the muscles because that one day my vocal cords were so tight. It was, I think I was on a 10-day shoot, and it was the 10th day, and I was exhausted, and my vocal cords just didn't want to work. So now I actually carry some numbing spray, which is even better.
What about tea? Like honey tea
That's
and
Yes, lots of hot drinks for sure. But
uh,
sometimes you don't have access to that.
right, right. What's been the most difficult scene for you to get into that you had to struggle with it at first, but then you overcame it? And how did you do that?
Um, that's a that's a tough one because I just end up, I don't know, I just make them work. I picture what I have to do. I just know what I have to do and I just do it. Probably the hardest thing is when my coworker isn't getting their lines and they're struggling and we have to redo the scene over and over and over, and that's actually very hard because then I have to keep hitting my lines and with
Right.
the emotion. That would, I would say, is the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Now, have you ever been in that position where you couldn't hit your lines and you're that other person, where it's just working with for you today?
I try not. I Yes, when I first started out, yes, but I work really hard to prepare. As soon as I get my lines, I start learning them. I don't wait. I make sure I know my what I'm to do because as an actor, you have to hit your mark and you have to know your lines. And if you don't know your lines,
It's rough.
yeah.
What's the audition process for you like?
I always have something going on because you didn't mention I'm also a script writer. I have a
Oh, oh,
script that I've got 5 scenes left to finish, and I'm trying to finish it
o-
this month. Uh,
okay.
I'm in the process this weekend where we're finishing a short film where I'm a producer on Sister, in Edmonton. And then, what else have I got going on? I have a big role coming up in LA with David Pierce Monroe. He is the nephew of Marilyn Monroe. When I was in LA in March, I met him at the Oscars and we became friends and we started talking. And he has casted me to play Marilyn Monroe's mother. And Marilyn Monroe's mother is paranoid schizophrenic, and she has a lot of mental issues, and she was not well. She spent 16 years in an institution,
Oh,
Rocky View.
really?
And I get, like I was saying, I get to play the crazy mom.
Right. So, I mean, wow, I didn't know that about Marilyn's mom. I really don't hear too much about, you know about Marilyn, but I never really heard much about her
Yes.
background. I know that she came in Hollywood and then she ended up marrying Joe DiMaggio, and she
Hmm.
had, several famous relationships with people, including the Kennedy brothers. But you don't really ever think about the parents in those situations. Um, what was it like to play someone someone who lived in real life? What's it like playing someone who's in real life versus a creative one, a creative character?
It is hard. It's a lot of research, is all I can say. And And for me, I'm really honored to be able to portray a real, like an actual person, because a lot of times most of the characters are, they're just made up. They're scripted and they're just based on some idea, but this is not. This is She is an actual person, and for me, I'm super excited. And and I'm doing a lot of research. I do have a brother with some mental illness, so I actually have seen a lot of it. So I do have a bit of background that I can dig in, but I'm making sure I know. I'm really researching this hard.
I was gonna say, let me catch up to the chat. It is flying tonight. This is amazing. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. Keep the comments and the questions coming. I'll get to them as right now. Let me go here. Um, Jen mentioned screaming seems. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I want to go back to her question real quick. Says, what are some things you recommend to warm up for screams and whatnot? Is part of that like is part of that like getting your vocal cords ready for the scene? Is it better to go to a trailer or go to a quiet place where there's no other noise or distractions or what have you? Is it better for you to get into that, get into that get your voice in shape? Is it better for you to be quiet and have no one else around, or does it really matter? Do you shut them all out?
No, I just do it. But I just but when you scream, I scream so much that I kill the sound. The sound guy
Oh,
doesn't like me.
all right. Oh, yeah, yeah. Screen queen time. Yeah. Blowout.
Usually you need one
That's a
scream so they can get the sound at the right place where I'm not killing the sound guy.
right, right. Do you ever see that movie called Blowout with John Travolta?
No.
He goes around and records screams for
Oh,
horror movies, and so at the end of the movie, he's listening to a scream of someone really dying, but he's using
oh.
his the scream, and he's slowly cracking, and somebody says, "That's a really good scream," and he goes, "Yes, it's a really really good scream." So it's a
Mhm,
great movie. Uh, See, Jan says, I don't want to lose my voice. Yeah, you don't want to lose your voice either. That would be, yeah. Jen mentions Holden as Officer Sybil in Silent Hill definitely made my heart beat a little faster. Yeah, she was fantastic in that movie. Uh, that's a shame too. As great as that first movie was, man, the second one was just as bad. And it was like, I don't know. I've never seen a movie and a sequel be so far apart as far as quality.
mhm.
Um, Van City Adventures in the house, throwing up some orange hearts. That's right, orange for orange cats, orange cheetahs. Love it, love the orange hearts so much. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Uh, see, Jim mentions, do you picture certain people's faces from your life or past when rehearsing and filming on set to keep your performance, and even filming on set to help you get your performance out?
I picture who my character is talking to. I try and picture who they are. And sometimes, like, if it's a male, it depends on what the typecast is. And I'll try and find someone that, especially like a reader, I'll try and get someone that to practice with and make sure that I'm getting close to maybe their age or, you know, usually I'll have a male role and I'll have a female reader. So it doesn't always work.
Well, how about this? How about because a lot of times when they have the crazy mom is always trying to sort of become femme fatale like. Have you had a chance to play femme fatale or in a romantic like I'm crazy but I'm still gonna put some moves on this guy over here. Have you had to play a part like that yet?
No, but I want
Well,
to.
well, well, it's
I
gonna
almost had a
happen.
role for a cheating ex-wife.
Yeah. See, yeah, you gotta have some of that romance in there. Uh,
I haven't
yeah, I
had
gotta
I've had
not
some
yet.
auditions where I had to do that, which was
Did
great.
you what's more terrifying for you, playing someone who's crazy and kooky, and unstable, or playing a romantic scene with a leading man? What's more terrifying for
I
you?
do all of it.
Huh?
I wanna do all of that.
Oh, you want to do all of that? Okay, all right.
Why would I wanna stop? It
Yeah,
doesn't s
but you know what? You know what? Believe it or not, they always say that the romantic roles are actually the most difficult. I've asked many actresses, what's more difficult for you, to do a romantic scene or doing a scene where you die? Oh,
Mhm.
I'll be happy to die. It's like, really?
But the
Um,
romantic roles go to the 20-year-olds, not the
not
50-year-olds.
all the time. Anybody who's watched this show knows that there's been some we've had some older ladies in getting some interesting positions, and gentlemen as well. They play some romantic clinches. Um, ha- ha- have you do you audition for those type of roles as well? I mean, do you look for leading lady roles, like,
I audition for anything and everything I can get.
have you done any horror movies yet?
Yes, actually, I was just in one called The Hearse Driver, and what right, I played the businesswoman, and yes, it was a short horror film, and it looks amazing. It's yeah, we just finished
So
it.
have you had to die on screen yet so far in your career?
Yes, in drag,
Oh, okay.
and I got to use an Uzi. I was
Ooh, what
shooting
was that
cops
like?
with Uzi, and
What was it?
no, I didn't die, I got shot, so
Okay.
I could come
Uh,
back.
what what was it like? What was it like? Shooting the Uzi.
So it was great.
Um.
I wanted to keep going. Then I got shot.
Oh, well, how did you get shot with the Uzi? Uzis are pretty
Oh, somebody
badass.
else shot me while I was shooting Uzi. I
Oh, okay.
I had to die. I just when I was told I was shot, I just flew myself back.
Okay.
Looked great.
As a regular, when you're not acting, were horror movies a big part of your life growing up?
I love
I mean,
horrors.
was that your favorite? What was your favorite genre of movie to watch when you were growing up?
I love vampires and sharks. Anything
Oh,
vampires and sharks, I watch them.
you're in the right spot. You're, you're in the right. I think John John, is she in the right spot or what? Now only thing we're missing our good friend Al to come through the door, which he probably will be. If he mentions the word bat, he'll come running. Um, let's see. Saying hi to everybody. Let's see. Let's see. Let me catch up with the chat. Hey, Larry, how are you? Um, let's see.
My favorite scary movie is Bram Stoker, the vampire one. Bram Stoker.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's one of my and I'm actually one of my scripts right now is a vampire script that I'm writing.
We're gonna get into that, right? Let me catch up to the chat. I'm gonna get into that screenwriting with you because that's fascinating as well. All right. Yep. There we talking about Silent Hill. First Silent Hill is absolutely fantastic. One of my favorites. Silent Hill Revelations is one of the worst films I've ever seen. Laura the Cat Dad says, yes, sadly wasted money on it in the theater. No doubt, right? I really wanted my money back. Um, Only issue with that was the first one was hoping it would been scarier. Beyond that, the film was a great adaptation of the first of the video game for the first movie. Yes. Um, Shout out to Karen Cleese, Femme Fatale Rose. Hell yeah, Karen is awesome. Have you met Karen Cleese yet?
No.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's a fellow Canadian actress, and she's fantastic. Uh, um, she plays a great psycho mom,
Mm,
and also a kick-ass hero too. Let's see. Favorite scary movie. Was it Dracula? Well, that's not really a scary movie though, was it?
uh, scary for me when I was a kid, Jaws. Jaws
Oh,
terrified me, absolutely. I didn't even wanna go to the bathroom, I didn't wanna have a bath, I wanted nothing to do with water. I don't know, it got into my brain that water and a shark would come up through a little tiny hole.
hmm. Speaking of that, there was a movie I saw called Ghost Shark that had that same premise. So maybe, uh, uh, You like bad shark movies?
I love them. All the
I do
Sharknado
too.
ones.
All the shark, yes. Well, you know, Canada, there's a fair amount of shark movies made in Canada. Director Brett Kelly is infamous for making bad shark movies. He's Canadian.
There was one
Um,
that I just saw was the Ballad of Sharkosaurus, and that was awesome.
well, you know, they just previewed a new shark movie today called Shark Under Paris, I think it's called, and it's
Mm,
about a shark that's in the Seine River in Paris, and it's directed by Xavier Gens. And I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh my God, really?" I'm going like, "Oh, Xavier Gens is doing it? Oh, I'm so there. I'll be the first one to buy a ticket. Thank you." He's an amazing director. Let's see. Are we all excited to return to Silent Hill? I don't know because I saw the cast for that movie, and there's really nobody in there I know at all. And I wish there would have been a couple of actors in there that would have, anchored it, because the first one, well, actually, the first two had a pretty good cast. The first one had a great cast. Um, Kim Coates, Sean Bean, Rhoda Mitchell, Laurie Holden, Alice Kriege. That's a great cast. God Almighty, that's a great cast. Um, but if you could star in a horror movie, of it, would it be Dracula, or would it be something else? Vampire. Anything to do with the vampire.
oh, yeah.
Okay, we're putting her in there. We're putting her in there in Van Helsing then. So let's talk a little bit about script writing. So how hard was that to get into? Had you were used to writing anyway from the other job, because
Nope.
you do nothing but report. You do nothing but reports when a firefighter. Um, had you had any training at all? Did you write before you started?
No, I just used to do essays when I was in college. I just I was a decent writer for essays, that was all. And actually, I didn't do any writing since then, and then when the strike happened and there was no work, one of my instructors, one of from my acting classes mentioned that, if there just find something to do in a film. Just doesn't matter what, but do something. And so I actually started writing, and I was surprised that it just kept going. I would I I think I probably have about 8 different scripts on the go right now, but I'm actually focusing on like 1 or 2.
Uh, I'm not going to ask you that because I want it to be surprised. Um, do you how does the process go? Like, let's say a day that that you're going to be writing. Like, you set a day aside. I'm going to
Mhm.
write. So what's your day? What does it look like? What do you do? Do you have a routine when you write?
Kinda. Um, I put sticky notes on my walls. All my ideas.
Uh,
I actually have a hallway that it's got sticky notes all over it.
so,
I don't want
will
the
we be
police
seeing?
coming to my place 'cause they're gonna think I'm crazy,
Now,
but
will we
I
be seeing a
actually
picture of that on your Instagram?
Hmm?
Will we be able to see a picture of those notes on
No,
on your Instagram?
but I actually all my ideas is I'm the type of person that when I get an idea is I'll sticky note every idea, and I like them because I can move them around. And it depends on, like, I was a co-writer for post-apocalyptic, and so we were help creating the world. So I would just, like, every little idea I had, I would sticky note it, and then I start organizing it and figuring out, like, say, creating the world. How did the world become here? How do people survive? What does the world really look like? Are there creatures? Is it jungle? Is it desert? Like, I would just put everything. And over time, I would back up, and I wouldn't go on. So I don't use AI, and definitely I don't go on social media. I actually walk away, and I don't watch other people's work, and I will stand back and I will look at the wall, and I just start thinking, and ideas just start coming. And if they don't come, I'll go for a walk, and I'll come back, and I'll just stand and look and just let my brain come up with ideas. And it does. And I just keep,
What?
and then more sticky notes.
I was gonna say, well, you have 8 different scripts going. that's really a beautiful thing because if you hit a wall on one, you can just shift that energy to another one.
Mhm.
Many, yeah. I want to go back to the chat because we just have Jeff Clark Jr. just walked through the door. He is also a fellow actor, and he just got done making his directing debut with his short film, "You Filthy Animal." I'm going to plug this right here. But Jeff and the cast and crew of You Dirty Animal or You Filthy Animal will be on the 20th of June, and you will not want to miss that show at all. Trust me on that. I got to watch Jeff's first film. It's probably the second best thing I've seen this year. I really, really enjoyed it tremendously, and he will be here on the 20th to talk about it. And shoot, maybe I should have you come out and hang out with us. You want to come hang out with us on the 20th?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. There you go. I'm gonna send you an invite. Come out, hang out with us. Let's see. We're talking about let's see, the graveyard scene with Wolf Beast and Dracula freaked me out as a kid. God, it's been a while since I've seen that movie. Actually, I just think of the Wolf Man. I just think of Van Helsing, and Hugh Jackman played a badass werewolf. Um, Jeff mentioned same thing happened to me. Acting coach said, uh, you need to uh, you need to write big story short. Um, you know, yeah, either write short stories or write long. Just write, really, what it is. I mean, once you sit down there, you just want to write whatever it is. Um, let's see. Jen mentions she'd love to get into script writing too. Writing and art are my main strengths. Those are really, really good things to be strong at. And Steven, our good friend and still my press guru, Stephen Chang is here. Hello, Stephen. How are you? Hopefully, you're feeling better. Um, Jen says, "Hey, it's you Filthy Animals on Tubi. Not quite yet. We're gonna be seeing that in festivals. If Sherry needs a promo, she's kicking ass today, Stephen. This is her first
I
press,
know
and she's
you
kicking
promo.
yeah, she is kicking ass tonight. First press. Yeah. So there you go. And he mentions you have an amazing glow and smile. And Steven would know he helps a lot of actresses get publicity. So that's awesome. Thank you, Steven, for your kind words. So let's talk a little bit about the writing things. Like you hit the wall, you go out for a walk, you come back, if it's not there, you can go on to another script. What kind of scripts are you writing? Are you writing different styles of genres? Do you do horror, drama, biography, action and adventure, firefighting? What kind of how many scripts do you have working right now? I mean, without going into too much detail. And do you
I
literally keep them in a letter in a writing box?
No. They're
No.
on my computer. But
Oh, you
they're
do?
on a drive, so they're on, like, a Google Drive, so if it goes down, my computer's still safe. I actually store it in a couple different places. Um, I tend to write dark. I wrote, a serial killer, vampire, blind musician, working on that. I helped with an anime. Um I can't write romance though. That's the one avenue I just don't seem to do well at. But I can I don't know, I don't know.
Well, it's just something for you to, I'm sure you'll, knowing your drive and your focus, it'll be something that you overcome.
Mhm.
You'll sit there, it'll come to you.
I'm
Like
still
going
fairly
through.
new at it too.
Right, right, and you're self-taught. Now, do you have a group of friends and peers, um, that you hang out with and maybe swap ideas or write with? Do you have like a writing partner?
I actually for my vampire script, I have a co-writer and it's funny because we can't seem to come up with the ideas until we're together and actually we're together and we bounce the ideas and then it just seems to happen. Then we're able to get the story pulled out. One day we are able to write up 3 scenes where right now I'm struggling to get one.
Right.
It'll
right.
come. And one thing is I'm not hard on myself about it because it will come. I'm confident that I will get it done. I'm not, and I'm not afraid to go and talk to other people and reach out for help because when with my writing, I realize that I'm a first writer. So I can create the idea, I can create the story, but I'm weak on dialogue. But sometimes I'll think of something that someone's saying, but really I create the story and how the story runs. That's where I'm really strong, but in dialogue, I'm not. So I actually am finding friends that do really good on dialogue.
Dialogue is that would seem to be the hardest thing too.
Mhm,
Because how do you go to make it seem like realistic? A lot of times, a lot of dialogue, especially on certain shows, it's so over the top. It's just you can tell when there's not a really strong script writer.
mhm,
It's just someone who's not that strong. Someone commented, and I just heard this the other a few weeks, maybe a couple of weeks ago during a script, and they said when you hear somebody every third or fourth word is a curse word, it's a shitty script writer because all he's doing is padding it because he doesn't
mhm,
know how to write. And
mhm.
I'm thinking, I never thought about it that way, which would explain a lot of Tarantino. Oh, did I say that? Hell yeah, I did. Um,
But sometimes you
that
can
was
have a character that is like that. You want to, like, I have a character where she swears a lot, but that is her. And it's specific. It's the way she does it. It's not just like.
Yeah, but his all his characters talk like that. If you really
Yeah, that's
listen to a lot of his char if you listen to a lot of his, a lot of his dialogue, it's very profane and very vulgar. Every movie, it's always like that. And to me, it's like it is a sign of a not a very good script. If you have to go ahead and you have to use you know words like that to pad it out.
yeah.
That's just my opinion, of course.
Mhm,
Let's see. Uh, let's see. Jen says romance, showmance. I never get into that genre either. I can feel it and write it, but I stay away from those types of movies as much as possible. Titanic is one of my only exceptions. Of course, Larry, the horror cat dad, he mentions this lazy writing. Yes. Uh, Jen says, "Shots fired." That's right. Anybody knows me and Tarantino, you better become loaded for bear. Uh, uh, let's see. That was my big issue. And Abigail. Wow, really? Okay. So there's a lot of cursing going on in Abigail. Oh, okay. I haven't seen that yet. I have not. I've heard good things about it. I've seen a movie like that that came out a few years ago called House of Salem, which was really really good. Do you like
mhm.
movies with a twist?
The
Are you?
love
What
you
movie have you watched?
gotta have a twist. You gotta keep people guessing. You can't just have everything just, like, handed on. You want people to go, "What was that?"
Yes, yes.
My
Uh,
scripts are not straightforward. They make you think.
that's the best kind. That's the
Mhm.
best kind. Have you ever watched a movie where? Have you ever watched a movie where it's just been too much for you to watch? Like you said, no, I just can't do this. I can't watch this one. Is there any genre that out there that you don't like? Like if someone wanted you to be a part of the new I Spit on Your Grave, would that be a role that you would do, or you have your limits and you sit there and say, I'm good?
It Yeah, I do have limits. Like, it it's gotta appeal to me. There's gotta be something that I want to do. Like, if it's just, like, nothing, then no. But
Yeah.
if there's a lot of blood, then I might wanna be in it.
There will be blood. Uh, yeah. Um, I think this will be a lot of fun. Of course, now you're gonna get once you get your script up and running, and then the other part comes into play, and it's just a part that you feel like you're gonna be good at. And that is, do you think you'll be good in raising money for your projects?
That is the hardest part that is in everywhere. I've been talking to people all in the States and in Canada, and that is the number one thing that is under. People don't realize how hard it is to get money for films and how much it costs, and then the streaming apps don't pay you. Like,
No.
it's complicated and it's difficult. Um, and yeah, and I'm trying to raise funds for one of my films, and yeah, it it's hard. That's the
Yeah.
hardest part. People don't wanna invest in films because there's uncertainty.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like more and more the people are doing the investing. They want to see a return. They want to
Mhm.
see a return. They want you to tell them, like, okay, tell me your movie, tell me your pitch, but how are we going to get our money back? If I give you $30,000, I want to get it back. I'm not in the habit of just giving 30. I want to know how I'm going to get it back.
Yep.
It needs to be more and more. That's what's going on. I think that's one of the reasons why it seems to be shrinking a little bit as far as movie making goes, is because of that. Because people want to see the returns.
The revenue isn't there as much as it used to be either because of the streaming apps. It's made it a lot more difficult to, like, you used to be able to get sell DVDs. You would get a cut of that. Now you don't have DVDs. You
Yeah.
just get a cut of what people view, but it's so tiny.
Uh, are you a big physical media collector yourself? I have to ask that question for my good friend Hobbs because because he would ask that for you. Are you a big physical media collector? Do you have movies at home?
I love movies.
Oh,
I actually used to have a lot, but I might have lost a lot in a divorce, but now I'm slowly collecting more again.
okay, okay. What he took all your movies? What? You
No,
took the
I downsized into a small place, so I couldn't take them.
Oh, okay, okay. So now, where do you usually go to find your movies at?
People that are getting rid of them.
Okay, no problem. I mean,
I have a lot of friends that sometimes they're downsizing or they're just getting rid of their collection, and I'm like, "Hey, make me a deal.
wow, that's
I'll take a
exactly
bunch."
right. That's exactly right.
Yep.
Let me go back one more time here. Go ahead and throw your questions out. We're getting close to the end here, but we will go ahead and take a few more questions. So please drop them in the chat for our guest Sherry. Let's see. Saul will go down as having one of the best twists ever. And Identity with John Cusack, Ray Liotta, and Amanda Peet. Yep. Uh, I remember how pretty Rebecca De Mornay was, even though she got killed first. Let's see. Let's see. Jen's also watching the 76 and 13 versions of Carrie tonight. That's You'll have to let us know what the big difference was. Um, See, I've been channeling Carrie energy lately. But that's a fire. That's more like a fire starter right there, Jen, with that flame. That's more like Drew Barrymore. See, T-shirt and item sales. Yep. Well, people do sell Blu-ray and DVD still. Yes, they are. Yep. Physical copies are still are still very popular. Our friend Mr. Bones is in the house. He is what we call a boutique bala. His collection's insane. Uh, he's got videos on his collection that I just sit there and say, one of these days I'm gonna have something like approaching that. Bones has got a great collection. And Jen says that she is also a fire sign as an Aries. All right, there we go. Uh, we need more zodiac type movies.
I'm a Sagittarius, and I'm a fire horse on the Chinese horoscope.
I don't know what I am. I think I always used to tell people you know your sign. I go like stop. That's about it. That's about it. Um, Sherry, what's your favorite? Okay, that's a good. Yeah, what's your favorite DVD, VHS, or Blu-ray cover? Cover? Okay. Wow.
Cover?
I was gonna say, what's your favorite movie that you own at home right now?
Um, oh, I got a bunch. Oh, I gotta think of which one. I got lots. Oh, that's a good one. History of the World Part 1.
Okay. Mel Brooks, can't go wrong with
Love
that.
Mel Brooks. Actually, he was the one that when I was younger, I remember I watched that film, oh, hundreds of times and laughed.
That's a really funny movie. I love Blazing Saddles. Blazing Saddles was really fun, except I hated the last 10 minutes of it. I did not like the last 10 minutes. I did not like the way he ended it. I was like, I just never liked that. I just felt like it felt like he just ran out of ideas. It's like he didn't know how to end it. And I just really felt like, because up to that point, that movie is absolutely fire.
Mm.
And then the last 10 minutes is just like, wow, okay. It's just like, it's like, okay. It's that. Um, I tell you what, my last question for you for the evening is what's next for you? What's on your calendar?
Um, I have the role in LA, and I'm
Okay.
trying to get my vampire script done this month.
Okay.
And then and I'm also I'm an associate producer on a music video for July.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Now, will that be your first music video that you worked on?
Yep, super
For
excited.
what band will you be
Oh,
producing?
what is it? It's My Girl Friday the 13th. Or
Okay.
is it my girl or no, his girl Friday the 13th. It's
Okay.
Kai I can never say his last name.
I'm not the only
Girl,
one. Thank
girl,
God.
girl.
Thank you so much for that. I needed that. I needed that so much because I am horrible with that. I am
Why
horrible.
everybody has difficult last names. Can they make it easy for me?
I come in there and I'm like, please, already know, with some people I don't even say their last names because I know I'm gonna screw it up, and I'd rather just not do that. So I'll just sit there and say, I'm gonna wait till they get here, then I'll ask them. Yeah, I get it. All right, boys and girls, we are at the end. Uh, but as you saw, those who are here um, will know that Sherry will be back. Will you be back in Canada on the 20th?
Well, I'm in Canada on the
I mean,
20th. Yes.
I thought you were going to LA tomorrow.
No. No, I'm going to
Okay.
Edmonton.
Oh, Edmonton. Okay, so you're not going down to LA?
No, not yet. I'll
Oh,
find
okay,
out.
okay,
I will be there this year. I'm just waiting to find out.
okay.
He's currently working on the trailer right now.
Okay.
Has to.
So Sherry will be back with us on the 20th. How about that? We're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and bring her back on the 20th when we talk to Jeff Clark, Pat Bradley, Kelly Grego, and here's the one. Here's the first name I'm going to have trouble with. I think it's Michael Eon Stanley. I hope I didn't mess Stanley. I hope I didn't kill his last name, which I'm sure I did, and his middle name. But we'll be here for a panel chat on June 20th and talking with Jeff about his movie Filthy Animal. Um, and I'll see if I can get Jeff to send you the link to the movie so you can
Mhm.
go ahead and look at it. I promise you'll be saying thank you for letting me come onto the show because his movie is fire. It's fire. It's
Can't
a
wait.
beautiful. Yeah, it's really good, real good. Second best movie I've seen this year. I'm not saying that because you're here, Jeff. I'm telling you the truth. It's a beautiful, beautiful movie, which is really weird because my first movie of the year is about as far as away as you can get from his movie. I mean, you cannot get any further away than the opposite uh, from my favorite movie this year and his movie, first two movies. Um, all right. So we'll be here on the 20th at 8 o'clock. You'll be hearing me announcing that. I want to thank you, Sherry, for coming out and hanging out with us. You'll be coming back. I want to thank the chat so much for. One last question from Craig here. Um, okay. Who do you think was one of the best Canadian comedy actors? There's been so many great ones. John Candy. Oh,
Yes.
Owen. Okay. So Michael Owen Staney. Okay, thank you so much. I knew it was Irish, but I just didn't know how to pronounce it. Um,
Mm.
yeah. Yeah, John Candy would be my Canadian actor for that. Yeah, thanks so much for coming out, you guys. We'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. I hope you guys all roll out tomorrow night. We'll be talking to Jenna Dulat. She was in a movie called Sweet Killing Machines, plus a ton of other fantastic films as well. And we'll be talking with her tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. We have a 9 o'clock start time tomorrow, and hopefully we'll see some of you here for that. If not, we'll see you next Tuesday for a doubleheader. We're heading across the pond. We'll be talking to Victoria Chambers and Derek Barr. And then Tuesday night, we'll be talking with the excellent actor Dar Dixon. Really, really talented gentleman. Really talented. Can't wait to talk with him. Sherry, stay right where you're at. And to the chat, thank you so much for your support. I wouldn't be doing it if you weren't here. So I appreciate it. Thank you. And we will see you tomorrow night. Peace.